you?
Hi, Kristen. We're good. How are you?
Hi. So I'm Kristen from AgeOfTheNerd.com. So I appreciate you guys joining us today. I absolutely adored the first episodes that I've seen so far. So, I was curious as you all as actors continue to dive into the many layers that these characters have as we go through the different time periods. Was there anything that you were surprised to learn about yourselves?
That's a great question. I would say something that I was surprised to learn about myself. Maybe just to me, like the true definition and what it means to be like ride or die or like just a good friend in general. I think that it really, because Isabella is she's a hardcore friend. Like she really she doesn't mess around when it comes to her friends. And I think that for me, she takes things a little too far sometimes, but I think for me, internally, it also not helped me, but it made me kind of like think about my friendships and my relationships. We filmed in Vancouver, so I was like, when I show up back home, like what's the type of friend that I want to be to people? How do I want to show up in other people's lives? And loyalty as well, like really checking and making sure that the people around me are as loyal as the character that I'm playing, and that I'm also loyal, showing that loyalty back to them.
Hi, I'm Rito. I'm from the Philippine Daily Inquirer. So I'm so thrilled to meet all of you. One of the things that makes this show consistently compelling is the characters. I call it delicious ambiguity. You never really know if you're seeing a person's real character. For each of you, what did you do to channel your character's dark side? Because they're very likable, but how did you channel that?
For me, I used music was a really great tool. I had a playlist for each version of Isabella. So a playlist for summer 99, winter 99, and then summer 2000. In my summer 2000s playlist, it was really dark. I listened to things that would get me in that mindset. And then also usually it depended on the scene, but just also taking time to myself beforehand, making my trailer kind of dark and just sitting with all the thoughts and feelings that Isabella is going through and that, space in her life. But I would say that music specifically, and then also another thing, hair, makeup, and wardrobe, when you're in those looks, like it's hard not to kind of, immerse yourself into that version of the character when you are looking so oh my gosh, goth and depressed. It's hard not to like switch into that mode.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like, it does come down to, what you have on the outside kind of reflects the way that you're feeling on the inside. For Megan especially, she's using that hard exterior to mask what she's going through, and to protect herself from the outside world. And yeah, music too. And I think it's all really in the script too. If you look at the page and you see what these young girls are going through, it's not hard to imagine how difficult that would be and to kind of tap into that,
Yeah, I wish I had a goth look. I don't. I have pretty similar looks from both timelines. So I never got to explore the dark side as much as these gals did. But later on in the season, like it gets a little darker. And I really just got to have fun with it. I don't know. I think it's fun to throw that bit of spice in there of like, okay, and I'm gonna play someone who's really goth and depressed. You kind of like feel like everybody has all those like feelings and emotions inside them sometimes. And I always see those kinds of scenes and those kinds of roles or moments of the character as like outlets to just kind of like let that stuff go. It's fun, you throw on a playlist that reminds you of some angsty time in your life, and then you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna let it roll.
Hi, this is Jamie Steinberg with Starry Constellation magazine. Each episode of Cruel Summer is so intense. It's edge of your seat watching. It's just a thrill right through and through. If each of you could talk about maybe what were your favorite episodes to film this season, even if you can't spill what happens, maybe a little bit about number-wise. Sadie?
I think I might speak for Griffin and Lexi too when I say that when we get towards the end, I think it's like end of 7, 8, and 9, we kind of we start looking at what happens on the night of New Year's Eve and the day of New Year's and what that looks like. And, you know, it's kind of the climax. And those were some really intense shooting days for us. It got dark there for a minute, and it was intense. We leaned on each other a lot. Lots of, you know, night shoots and emotional scenes, and so those were, I don't know if they were fun to film, but they were really rewarding to film, and it was really nice to do that with Griffin and Lexi. So I have some good memories from that, even though it was a little rough.
I agree. Those were like my favorite scenes to film, even though that they were like the hardest. But I just felt like, I don't know, something about like we were all like snotting, crying together, like, really bond to really. But yeah, I think that also just like the fact that you know, the ensemble cast as well, it's such a big friend group. You know, all the scenes that we had together, especially like the pool party scenes, we just had a blast doing it. It genuinely felt like we were actually all partying together and just having fun. So those are the best kind of moments where it's actually authentic.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think actually though, I would go for the earlier episodes. I really enjoyed those, kind of when we were all getting to know each other, and we would have those crazy long night shoots. No better way to get to know somebody than to work with them for like 2 weeks straight, from like 4 p.m. to 5 a.m.
in a freezing cold pool.
And you see every version of a person in those 2 weeks. You see like how they are at their happiest, how they are at their most stressed, how they are when they're completely delirious. And then you're also going through all that at the same time. And I think it's like, it's the fastest way to get to become close with somebody. So, I mean, maybe not in terms of filming wise, but from I mean, scene wise, but in terms of like just filming and what I look back at as like the best, most fun episodes, I'm thinking early on night shoots, because they were brutal and they were in a way not fun at all, but because we were all going through it together, it became really, really fun. I mean, there were nights that we were all like, there were 7 of us huddled around a single heater, like cuddled on the ground with like 4 on top of us. And then there was like nights where we all brought our guitars to set, me, Paul, and Braeden, and then all 3 of us would just serenade everyone else for like a couple hours till it got annoying.
Whether we wanted to or not.
Right.
Yeah, we'd be playing the same 7 songs over and over again. Honestly, not even 7, it was like the same 4 songs over and over again. That's part by Daniel Caesar got played maybe 100,000 times.
Yeah.
Definitely sounds fun.
Hi, my name is Suzanne and I run tvmag.com. And I was wondering, Lexi touched on this earlier, but as far as the different looks that you all sported for the different time periods, how was that for you? And did they give you any input at all into the looks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, you do a hair and makeup test, you know, before you start filming. And I think that, you know, during that process, that was really the process where I felt like I was really immersing myself into Isabella. There's something different when you're coming up with these hairstyles and coming up with these makeup looks, you know, from the ground up. And the entire team was just so open to being collaborative with making the looks. And I think that each look for each timeline just had to be so specific because each character is a different version of themselves. So the makeup and the hair absolutely has to reflect that. But it was also like really great to be able to have that piece, because like I said earlier, it only helped us more when it came to our character arc and switching back into those that certain mindset that our character was going through.
Sadie?
Yeah, totally agree. I'm very grateful to the heads of hair and makeup and as well as wardrobe. They were all really collaborative, and I remember it was a big discussion about those 3 different looks. Obviously, they did that really well in the first season. It helps the audience as well to be able to distinguish what's what. And yeah, it helps me too. I don't know if I would have been able to keep it as straight if I didn't have those 3 different looks to kind of ground me. But yeah, it was a big discussion about the 3rd timeline, what we were going to do for that. There's a lot of different ideas that were come into play. But yeah, I think what we ultimately landed on was really fun and something that I'd never done before. I'd never like seen myself like that before. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was good.
Griffin,
Yeah.
you look the same in the two that you did, or were there slight changes?
No, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Jack, Mo, and Brooke. That was the makeup and the hair people that were on my team, helped me out all the time. And we would come in and I would be done in about 15 minutes because there's not much you could do to the hair that's about an inch long. And then my face is basically just my face, so it was pretty standard routine. Every once in a while,
Except we would all do like the tanner, like we would do like tanner stuff, and then they would make you like more pale in the winter.
Yeah, which I was like, dude, I do not need any more help being pale. Like, let's relax. But yeah, that was mostly it. I would go from like full orange to like almost like a translucent light blue pale, and that was fun. That was definitely fun. Those were my two look changes. So I didn't have as much of a visual aid as the girls did of like, oh, this is this timeline, this is this timeline. I was just like, okay, either I'm orange or I'm blue today. And then
this is my cues from TV America. I was going to ask something different, but first of all, I got to ask you, when you're talking about the freezing cold swimming pool, what time of year was this in Vancouver when you were filming this?
So,
you go ahead, Griff.
Backwards, it was hilarious. I mean, we're shooting all the timelines at once, right? But early on, I think we were really summer heavy.
Yeah.
We were shooting that just at the end of winter, so like almost springtime. So it was really cold.
Okay.
And not only are we really cold, we're also wearing summer clothes. And then during the winter time, it got unbelievably hot, and we're all wearing 4 layers of sweaters and jackets.
Okay, thanks. And the thing I was going to ask Sadie, Sadie, you're the one person who's had a chance to get pretty close to a regular teenage years. So the other 2 stars were working during that time, but you had some time when you had a regular summer. What was your typical summer for you like before you became an actress?
That's a fun question. Yeah, I guess I had a pretty normal childhood growing up. I started acting when I was 16. So before that, I was just like, honestly, I remember just hanging out with my next door neighbor, Courtney, every single day. And we would like make little like videos on our phones and like make little movies. And we would like ride our bikes in the neighborhood. It was all very normal, very cute, good times.
Didn't kill anybody. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot.
That we know of.
Hi, Jana Nagase, Gazeta News, and Jana on camera. Nice to see you, Sadie and Lexi again. And the question is, did you guys ever find yourselves like judging your character of any situation or any actions that they did? And how did you separate yourself from that judgment? Griffin?
Oh, well, sorry. I was sorry. I hopped in there way too early. But yeah, I judged Luke all the time, personally. He makes a lot of silly decisions. He's got some issues to work through. And he doesn't make the right choice a lot of the time. But that's okay. He's young. He's dumb. He's learning. But I always had to justify it and go, even if I don't agree, like with the clothing choices, as a mild example, I'd go, I hate wearing this. This looks bad. But in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm going, okay, but Luke likes wearing this. He feels comfortable in this. He thinks it looks good. And it's like, you apply that to everything. You have to. You have to be your character's own biggest advocate. Even if you personally don't agree with what they're doing, saying, or thinking, you have to recognize that at the end of the day, they believe in it full-heartedly. That's who they are as a person. So you have to find a way to excuse it. You have to find a way to justify it to yourself so that you can justify it on screen and for the scene and for everyone else.
Yep.
Thank you, Lexi.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was going to piggyback off of what he's saying. I feel like as an actor, it's our job to be our character's keeper, and it's never our job to judge our character, regardless of what they're going through or the choices that they're making. And so, while obviously Lexi, myself, I may not necessarily do the same things that Isabella does. I am, though, playing Isabella. And so I do have to remember that. And I have to remember that while that's something that I may not do while I step, on my world, outside of set, but this is something that this character is choosing to do, and I can't judge her. All you got to do is just go with the flow, go with it, and trust the writer, and trust that, your character is somewhat making the right choices, even if you don't agree with it.
Sadie, anything to add?
I'm absolutely, they said it best, but yeah, you're your character's biggest advocate. You have to love your character. I love Megan wholeheartedly, even though she makes some questionable decisions, and you know, she can be immature at times or handle things incorrectly, right? But what is incorrectly? She's just a teenage girl. I can understand that. I can understand where she's coming from and why she wants what she wants. So that's what it comes down to, you know, the love that you have for this character that you're playing.
Thank you.
It's Monica Clearroom. It's Time Warner Entertainment and Sound Sunset Podcast. Griffith, Sadie, Lexi, I'm so happy to see the three of you. I love you guys. Yeah.
We love you.
So I wanted to ask you a two-parter because we're probably almost out of time. So first I wanted to ask, in terms of, you know, just structure of a television show, it's one thing when you do flashbacks, it's another thing to do multiple timelines in every single episode. So I wanted to know how you guys, and also even filming out of order happens, obviously. So how you guys were able to kind of keep track of where you were, where your character was, what year you're in, like, you know, what month, all the things. How the heck did you guys do that? And then my second part of the question is, for fans, what are you most excited to see? And what are you hoping, like, they reminisce or like kind of that nostalgia mystery feeling that's coming from, you know, 1990s, the Y2K, the 2000, all that fun stuff?
You guys mind if I pop in early just because I feel like I'm gonna have a different answer. Just because in terms of like preparation, yeah, it talking about like bouncing around with the shooting schedule and all that stuff, it's really tough. And for me, I didn't have the visual aids that the girls had with like the looks and all that stuff. And I don't know if you guys can relate to this actually, but I've been thinking about this, and for me, a big part of getting to that point and figuring out where I was in the script and just with the shoot schedule that was so ridiculous, we're bouncing back and forth between timelines. I found it difficult to remember, okay, how does this scene relate to the other scenes, to the other timelines? Where does this fit in? Occasionally, what does my character know at this point? What doesn't he know? How is this affecting this? And there's certain things that we don't even know if our characters know, if they know, you know what I mean? We hadn't gotten the rest of the scripts yet, so we don't know how it relates to the whole rest of the story. So I found it really difficult to prepare a lot of the times. And what I kind of had to end up doing, and I figured out like halfway through our shoot schedule, is it's less important about the preparation and it's more important to just know your character so well that you can just hop into any scene. And with these fantastic scene partners, you don't have to worry so much about all those things. And all you have to worry about is, how is my character feeling in this moment, in this scene, at this time? How are they playing off of these other people? And that really just kind of gave like a free rein to just feel safe and comfortable on set with experimenting, you know, trying different things. Like, I don't know if this is correct for the moment. I don't know exactly what my character's feeling or thinking because we don't have all the information. So I'm going to put that to the side, at least personally. And I'm just going to try and exist in this scene, in this moment. Like, I don't know how they feel about the stuff that happened or might happen or what we know or don't know. All I know is how they feel right now in this scene, in this moment.
Well, you nailed it. We love you. We love you on the show, but you nailed it.
Thank you.
Well, you nailed it. We love you. We love you on the show, but you nailed it.
Thank you.
That was a really great answer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off of what Griffin said, as well as also, you know, music, I feel like for me specifically helped. I had a playlist, you know, for each version of Isabella. And then yes, like when you set that foundation at the top, and I think that, you know, Elle Triedman, our showrunner, Michelle Purple and Bill Purple, they were so great at the top of the season, especially when it came to helping us navigate and uncovering like who our characters really were in each timeline. So the fact that we set that foundation pretty early on, it helped so that when it was time for us to just have to adapt and adjust, we knew our characters kind of like the back of our hands, so that it wasn't a challenge for us to do it. And then also, yeah, like they're great scene partners, like being able to bounce off of their energy, that makes the world's difference. So I'm also just really glad that in those hard scenes that I had great scene partners to be able to bounce off of.
Yeah. Totally. I think they totally answered that question for you. So I guess I'll answer your second question about what the fans can be excited about. I mean, if the fans loved the first season, then I really think they're going to love this season too. We have kind of all of the same pieces and the same formula as the first season. We have the relationship between these two girls. We have this crazy devastating event that happens, and we have everything that unfolds after. And each episode you get more and more confused, and each episode you're suspicious of a new person, so the fans can just be excited to like not have any idea what's coming next and to be shocked every episode.
Yes.
We lose her.
Just in time.
Frozen. Okay, well, I want to thank you guys because you're amazing, and I love the three of you, and I've interviewed you guys many times, and you guys nailed it. So congratulations! I was so happy to see you.
So good to see you.
Great
all.
job.
Sadie says the
Thank you,
same.
everyone.
She feels the same way.
Thank you.
On her behalf.
If you like this video, don't forget to comment, to like, and subscribe to our channel right here.